Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I have a new layout to share for Pinkfresh Studio, and this layout is going to feature the new washi tapes that are just being released. We're doing an Instagram hop today, and I wanted to show you some of these gorgeous washi tapes. This one here is called Joyful Bouquet, and the camera just doesn't even do it justice. This one here is called English Garden. The most gorgeous florals, I swear, you've ever seen. Oh my goodness. And the third one that I have here is called Anemone Magic. And they're just beautiful watercolor flowers and leaves, and oh my goodness, I'm going to make a layout using, my first thought was I wanted to just focus on one of these washi tapes, and I wanted to use the Joyful Bouquet. So I pulled out a scrap of white cardstock here, and I'm going to make a mess here because clearly I've never used washi tape before. This is what it appears to be, but yeah. I'm trying to get it stuck on this cardstock because, there we go, I finally figured out the common sense way to apply this. Hello. But there are dies, metal dies that come, that match the sets, and so you can just easily cut these out. And I'm going to do that here in a second. But you can see here there's the big bouquet, and then there are 6 smaller little bouquets, and they're all trimmed in shiny gold. They are so pretty. So I'm going to show you the dies that come with them, or that are matching, and they all come in the exact same order and shape as the flowers. So you can do the big roll of washi tape on some paper like I just did, and then roll the whole thing through your electronic, nope, not your electronic, your manual die cutter like I have here, and it will just cut all the shapes out at once. You can kind of see it here as I roll through. But yeah, it's all attached, and so you don't have to sort through all of the dies to see which one matches which bouquet of flowers, because it all matches the strip of the tape. So yeah, I opened this package up and just gasped at how gorgeous this is. I was so excited, could not wait to play with it. I mean, so pretty. So I'm going to cut out the Joyful Bouquet, and then I took a break and thought, you know what, I want to try to use all of these. So I wind up cutting a strip from each of the 3 that I have. I believe there's a 4th one. I don't have that one. But look at these. I mean, come on. It's just like watercolor magic in washi tape form. This one has a little wreath in it. That's from the English Garden. The English Garden has really springy leaf green color with pink and orange flowers. I was moving my lights there to show you how shimmery and shiny these are. I mean, really gorgeous. So I've chosen my photo there. It's of my daughter in the swing. And I'm going to try to use a little bit from all 3 of these washi tapes on a layout. And I chose this photo because it's got a lot of neutral kind of dark greenery behind her, and then just her, and she's wearing kind of an aqua colored tank top, and aqua is the one color that is not in these washi tape flowers. And so I wanted something that would contrast, and I want to use that contrasting color on the background when I add some mixed media. This is something else that I love about these tapes, is you can cut them out. You don't have to use them as is. You could cut around them and just use the ones that you want. The Anemone Magic roll has some darker blues, and I didn't really want to use that color, so I'm just going to cut out some of the purple ones that I want. I'm going to cut out a couple of these just so I can move single flowers around. And I also want to scatter the colors around. So I have some yellow on, you know, both sides of the photo, and some pinks scattered around. But I love this. I love the colors, and I love that there is a variety of flowers. You know, each washi tape roll has a certain style of flower, but I don't even care that I'm mixing and matching. I think they all look beautiful mixed together. So I'm just going to go for it. And we're just going to have this nice, beautiful bouquet of all kinds of flowers. I'm going to do some watercolor on the background. This is thick, smooth, white cardstock. I'm using clear gesso here. And I'm just going to go ahead and coat the whole thing. I have an idea of where the watercolor is going to go, but sometimes it just goes a little more. So I like to make sure the whole thing is ready to go. So I'm going to go with the same color as my daughter's shirt. for the background color. This is the Sky Blue Pinkfresh Studio Liquid Watercolor. And I want some watercolor above the photo and then below the photo. And I chose this color because it's not in the flowers. I like to do a contrasting color in this situation because I have so much color going on, and I want the photo to stand out, but I also want the flowers to stand out. And so I feel like using this color is going to achieve that. So I'm just using a brush. I'm using some water from my little spray bottle there. I'm just tilting the paper this way and that way to kind of help the color run. And that's the only color that I'm going to use on the background. But I like that it mimics the color of her shirt because the rest of the photo is dark. You know, she was in the swing, so it's a lot of dark hedges and greenery behind her, but it comes across as darker just because of the way that the photo printed. And so I feel like the darkness of the photo helps everything else that's bright to stand out. And I'm liking how this is looking already. I'm going to just keep working on this background and get the color to kind of run and spread. And I'm going to keep adding a little bit more here and there just to kind of darken it up a little bit, because obviously the more water you add, the lighter it's going to get. And I do want it to be a little bit darker, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm so excited to see what all of the other girls have created using these washi tapes. Another thing that I don't use on this layout are the stamp sets. There are matching stamp sets also that have the exact same shape as all of these flowers, and then they all also have little sentiments that you can use as well that are really good for cards. But this is what I've got so far, and I love it. I love it. I got the background pretty much done. I thought that I would do a little bit of detail. And this is a stamp that I have not used yet. And it's a really fun chevron rubber stamp. And all the pieces come apart. So you can just do one chevron or you can do all of them. You can do each one in a different color. All kinds of ideas for that. But I wanted to do a subtle tone on tone effect. So I'm just going to use 3 of these little arrows here, and I'm going to use the mini ink cube that's called Ocean Breeze, and it's pretty much the exact match of the color that I have on the background. So I thought that I would just add this and see if it would show up as kind of like a subtle detail to the background, and it does. I do have to wind up doing a couple of applications because it is very subtle, but I just wanted to see what it would look like, and you can kind of see it there. It's not something that's going to stand out significantly. It's just going to be one of those things that adds a little something to the background, just a small detail. And I didn't want to use another color. There are plenty of other colors that I could have went with, but I didn't want to use a color that would mix with the blue watercolor, and then, you know, I didn't want to use, for example, a yellow ink here and then the background turn green, you know. So I just tried to keep it in the same color, and it wound up being almost too much of the same color because it is very subtle. And this is another effect that I like to do with stamping, is just to add a little bit of water and kind of fade out some of the shape. And when I do this, you really can't see that I did it that much. So like I said, I do wind up coming in with the stamp again. And it was just kind of a, let's see what this looks like sort of thing. But you can still tell that I did it there, and I like it. Just adds a little extra detail. But yeah, that's a fun stamp. I'll link that down below. It's from Pinkfresh Studio as well. Now, before I start to get all the flowers back on the layout, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of tissue paper behind my photo. This is just plain old white tissue paper. I love to add this behind my photos before I use adhesive foam to pop it off the page. It just gives it a little bit of interest, a little bit of a border behind the photo that kind of helps separate it from the background. And I like that it's uneven and you can rip it and tear it and crunch it, whatever you want. So I'm going to bring the photo back and try to get all of the flowers right back where they were and go from there. And I wanted to try to keep this layout all about the flowers. I am going to wind up pulling in a couple of things later from some of the new collections from Pinkfresh, but I wanted to try to keep it to a minimum because I really wanted this to be all about this flower explosion. And I thought about adding more flowers above the photo, but I didn't want to go overboard. I feel like there's a lot of flowers going on right now, so I just thought I would, add a couple of smaller ones here and there. So I really like how this is looking so far. And I got an idea in my head, and this does not turn out like I thought it would. I wanted to do some stitching above the photo and then below the photo. So I kind of draw a little pencil line to show where the top of the photo is going to go. I don't even know where this idea came from, but I wanted to do it in that yellowish golden color in some of the flowers there. And so I'm going to do it here in a second. In the end, I think it's fine. But when I first did it, I thought, why did you do that? I'm going to glue down the flowers that I know are going where they're going. Okay, here's what I did. Yeah. Didn't like it. I thought, no, why did you do that? And I did it in that golden orangey yellow, and I didn't like it against the blue background. So off camera, I just painted over it with the blue watercolor. So it kind of looks like darker blue thread. And in the end, it's fine. I don't think it really takes away from anything. I don't feel like it ruined the layout, but in my mind, it looked different. Looked better than it did in reality, and that's okay. Some of the thread you can still see that it's the orange color, but it's okay. I don't feel like it distracts from anything that much. So once I saw what I had, I didn't do any more. I just kind of stopped and started to glue things down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and glue all the flowers down. I'm going to glue the photo down and just try to ignore the fact that I stitched. I don't know. I just felt like stitching. Sometimes you just feel like doing something and you do it and you think, that did not turn out like I hoped. But I was not about to do another background. So, this is a case of, it's not my favorite part of the layout, but it's not that bad. Just roll with it. And the more I added things to it, the less it bothered me. Here are the little pieces that I'm going to add in from some of the collections. I have a couple of little die cuts from the Keeping It Real collection. I try a couple things that I wind up not using. I thought about using this Good Vibes Puffy Alpha word sticker from Keeping It Real. The two new collections are Keeping It Real and Some Days, and I pull a couple things from both of those. And I like the Good Vibes, but I felt like it was too much yellow. So I took it away, played around with a couple other things. I do use a couple of these stickers here from the Some Days collection. I use that yellow golden chipboard heart up at the top, and then this little puffy heart sticker up at the top. And then I use a couple of these little puffy leaf sprigs. There's two on there, so I'm going to use both of those. And I looked through the die cuts from both collections. And like I said, I didn't want to add too much. I didn't want to add a whole bunch of stuff because I like how this is looking so far. For my title, I'm going to mix and match. I do go back to the skinny blue, the very light blue puffy alphas from the Some Days collection. And I decided to make the title Backyard Vibes because she is in the swing in our backyard, and I wanted to mix and match that tall, skinny font with this cursive vibes, and I like the mix of the colors. However, you can't really read backyard because it's so light and it matches the background, so I'm going to darken up the color, and I love how this turned out. I'm just using my finger to smudge and dab a little bit of white gesso on top of these letters, and I really like doing this technique when I have a certain sticker or letters, like in this instance when I want to change the color. Add a little bit of gesso. I'm letting that dry. So in the meantime, I'm going to add in some thread. I decided to go back to that yellow orangey golden color. I'm going to add that thread over to the right. I'm just going to try to wedge it and tuck it underneath the flowers there so it kind of loops out onto the side there. And I really like that color, and I felt like that was a good color to use on that side. I'm going to go with this pinkish purpley color here to the left of the title, because there's a ton of colors here. So it was tough to narrow down, you know, which colors to use where, because there's just so many colors everywhere. Okay, here's what I do. I'm going to dab in some of the ink right on top of this backyard color, and I wind up using two colors. I come in with a blue called Slumber, and you can see instantly there how it's a little bit darkened. And then I go back over it with Aquamarine, and I love how that turned out. I love that. And they look really textured up close because of the way I dabbed on the gesso. So that is a quick and easy way to change the color of your alphas if they don't match or you can't really read them for whatever reason. I love how that looks. So it's basically the color of the background, just a darker shade. And I feel like it really pops now. And I'm going to go with Vibes as the second part of the title, and then I'm going to cut up some of the smaller flowers to make a little cluster down underneath the title. I don't want anything big, just a couple of the different colors, and I'm going to layer those up for a little cluster down there at the bottom. And I'm going to wind up popping up some of these little flowers here with some adhesive foam to create a little bit of dimension. And yeah, I like that little cluster down there. I still have to take the backing off of Vibes because it's not down yet, but that's going to go down. And I like all the white space on this layout. I feel like it makes everything stand out on its own. So I'm going to leave the rest of the layout alone and just let it be white. Glue those down. I like, when I'm making a little cluster like this, I like to pop a couple of things up, and then the pieces that are underneath those pieces, I like to glue those flat, because that really creates some fun dimension and just makes everything kind of pop off the page. The color of thread that I'm going to loop underneath here is basically the color of the background, just a little bit darker, so more of an aqua, a darker aqua bluish color. And I like how that is looking. I'm almost done here. I think I'm trying to decide where I'm going to add my journaling. I'm trying to get all these little threads right. Because, yeah, they drive me crazy sometimes. But here's what I've got so far. Really like how that's looking. Can you see all the gold there in those flowers? So pretty. I'm going to go ahead and pull down a heart. I forgot I did that. Since I had two hearts at the top, I wanted to bring one down here at the bottom. So I pulled in a pink one and then added a purple one up at the top. And then I'm going to use my ruler for my journaling. And I try to use a gold pen because I was just feeling the metallic gold. But when I went to write, the gold was such a different color than the Vibes, and it just kind of clashed. I felt like that would have been too much of a yellow vibe going down there. So I just switch and start to use my black fine tip Sharpie. And then off camera, I do add some gold splatters just because I felt like it needed some gold splatters because gold. But anyway, that's the final layout. I am obsessed with this washi tape. Oh my goodness. The flowers, the colors, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Make sure you check out Instagram today because we're doing an Instagram hop. There's going to be prizes. You're going to get to see a ton of inspiration. You don't want to miss out. You definitely, if you're a flower fan, then you're going to need these. I'm telling you, they are gorgeous. As you can see here, I was so excited to play with them. But let me know if you have any questions. I'll link everything down below where you can get your hands on everything, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great weekend.